So this video is not for the faint-hearted. If you're a Foxbody fan like I am, we got some issues with this car, and we're gonna fix this car with a couple parts that we just got in the mail from Stifler's. Let's crack this box open, and we'll get started. Okay, so this is Cousin Fred's car here on the channel. And this car definitely has some sentimental value, as Cousin Fred wants to try to save it the best he can. One of the main issues that car has is rust. We live in a rust belt here in Ohio. It's like the tale of two different floor pans in this car. It's like one side isn't really rotted at all, and the other side is like Flintstoning, if you get what I'm saying. So I had this idea that if I ordered some Stifler's subframe connectors as their full length, we could possibly fix his floor pan by welding in a subframe connector and trying to save the car instead of parting it out. Now, for most people, as bad as this car is rust-wise underneath, we're about to show you, would most likely be a part-out car for the most part, or a car that's used for parts or a donor. But again, Cousin Fred has sentimental value with this car, and we definitely want to try to fix as much as we can because these Foxbodies are getting hard to find anyways. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna get underneath the car. We're gonna get the subframe connectors kind of put in place. We're just gonna do the driver's side today because again, we're gonna be doing a floor pan restoration on this car as that whole pan is bad. And I don't want Cousin Fred driving a car, getting down the road and falling out of it because we literally have the seat braced, but that's not the right answer either. So let's go ahead and open this box, give you guys an idea what we're looking at. So a pair of seat bolts here in a second. As you can see, it's pretty heavy duty subframe connectors. We're gonna end up grinding some of this and welding it on, but we're gonna go ahead and put this thing on the seat like so. That way we know it's lined up. We're gonna use this jack. We're gonna spin this jack up and Cousin Fred's gonna help film and keep this thing in place. And all I'm gonna do is tack weld a couple of the bad areas just to give me some solidity for when I start cutting that floor pan out. I have something to work with. Okay, so you can see it's like literally a tale of two floor pans. Now there's a little bit of surface rust here on this car. Not too bad on this side. Definitely manageable for the most part. But if you look over on this side, it is destroyed. It's almost like this side sat in a mud puddle like half of its life. But the torque boxes don't look terrible. Just some surfaced rust that can be ground off. But this floor pan has to be replaced. And you can see why I have concern about Fred's safety here on this floor pan. Okay, so what I'm actually gonna try to do here, I had this idea that I'm gonna line these two bolts up like the factory mounts for the seat. And I'm gonna actually try to get this floor pushed up a little bit and get this subframe connector where it can tack it in and use this as a reinforcement. So when I actually cut the whole floor pan out, I got something to work with here. And you can see how kind of off it is a little bit. So the floor pan actually kind of bellied out a little bit. So what we're gonna end up having to do is take this little support brace that we put underneath of it. And this is some pretty hardcore restoration stuff right here, guys. Like I said, most people probably wouldn't touch that. But we have a whole factory OEM one that we cut out. And we're gonna dig all this rust out and then rhino line it when we're done and just kind of clean this side for him. But he's got sentimental value here on this car. And we're just gonna kind of make a temp fix here just to make sure that that seat's settled. We have something to work with when we do cut that out. We've got the welder here ready to go. We got some grinding tools and cutters ready to go. We got this thing we're actually gonna bring under the car after we bring the car down and readjust the arms so we can get the subframe connector in its place. This is where we're at with Foxbodies. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Some of the restoration isn't easy and it's floor pan restoration isn't all that difficult, but if you can fix a couple of the rusty spots on a Foxbody, you can have it for a long time. So let's get started. We're gonna have to re-stud this. So let's go ahead and get these studs out. This isn't a perfect repair and it's not gonna be. We're gonna save this car's floor pan using a pair of Stifler's subframe connectors sets our full length, and at least it'll give us an idea for stability of the car, and it'll kind of tighten the car up a little bit. It'll allow us to go ahead and put the extra pieces that we got sitting on the side of the shop, brace and all, and weld it all into place and brace it up so it'll make it nice. What I've decided to do is I've taken the actual bolts out of the car, and I'm gonna actually bolt this subframe to the actual original bolts, and you'd be surprised because they actually still line up. And I'm gonna push the floor pan up to where these subframe connectors can actually be somewhat level, and I can grind off a little bit and bring the car down and tack weld it. So the reason why I gotta bring it down is I gotta put my cement blocks up, because the car's kind of got to rest on itself when you set these, when you actually weld them in. But like I said, we're not going to do all the welding today. We're just going to be tacking them in just for stability reasons. And we're going to try to save the floor pan. There'll be more parts to this video than you see here. So we're just using these seat mounts as guides, especially for the new floor pan when we get ready to put it in. So what we're hoping for is we're kind of lined up back here where we want it. So we don't want to mess with the alignment here. And like I said, what we're doing is using it for stability. So Cousin Fred's going to go ahead and bring the jack up to try to get the belly out to where this actually moves over. If everything works out the way it does, it should be able to move over a little bit to give us that alignment, because we're still going to try to use this frame part and clean it out and cut it and put the other pan in. Go ahead. All right, so learning moment. When all else fails, read the directions. Stippler sticker does not go to the inside. Stippler stickers goes to the outside. So if you're going to install these stipplers, subframe connectors, keep in mind, guys, that there is a left and a right. And obviously you can tell by the way this. This is what would happen if you installed them backwards. You would be mad and say they fit like shit and then be mad at stipplers. So haha, Dan. Yep. They actually fit, right? So like again, we're just using the C-bolts as a guide for the new pan, and we're gonna go ahead and tack these in here in a moment after we grind down a little bit. We can't really go any further. We might make a little bit of an adjustment, but let's get these things tacked in and be happy with it. Even on a rusty frame rail. Look at that. We tweaked it a little bit and turned it. Pretty much about as good as you're gonna get, bro. I got a couple little spots here, and like I said, we're not gonna just gonna put a little Caterpillar weld on it. That way, if we want to cut it off, we can just cut them out. Won't be a big deal. Jack this part up to where it's kind of more flat, and it's gonna support the weight of the car on the lift. And then we're gonna move this arm to a different location. That way I can get in here and do a couple tack welds here for now. Again, it's just a temp fix for now. Guys, subframe connectors are probably one of the best mods that you can do to your car. And considering this car needs quite a bit of restoration, floor pan wise, we're gonna try to save it the best we can. I mean, we live in Ohio, we live up north, and you know, this sort of stuff is the stuff we gotta deal with. So gotta work with what we gotta work with. All right, guys, I think we're pretty much done for the day. We only tack welded it in a little bit because, again, we're gonna be doing some modifications to it. You know, we went on this side, put a couple little tack welds here, and there's still that one beam that we made a long time ago that's holding a lot of this up to begin with, that we've aligned up with the subframe. And we've tacked, you know, a couple other spots here in the back to keep the subframe, to use the subframe as like a stability thing for the pan until we get it fixed. We'll worry about doing the other side when we bring the car down to do gas lines, because gas lines like to rust. You see them right there? See how bad they are? This area likes to rust real bad, and once you put a subframe in, you can see how these gas lines would get in the way. We do have some replacement gas lines for Cousin Fred to use in this car, and he's already fixed some of the brake lines. So it's not rotted in the back. It's really just that one pan for the most part. Got a little bit on the strut towers. You know, to a lot of folks, this may be considered a part out car, but we're always trying to fix cars here on the channel. And this is the one that Cousin Fred likes to drive a lot. He's got new tires for it. We just put headlights and taillights in it. He actually drives it quite a bit. All right, guys, if you enjoy this sort of content, leave me a thumbs up, leave me a comment below, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you've actually repaired a floor pan before. There's a join button below for our channel membership that gets exclusive content to the channel. But outside of that, I appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you soon in the next video. Thanks.